I want to ask you a question. Does God have your attention? And if he does have your attention, how did he get it? And if he doesn't have your attention, what does it take for God to get your attention? Because in order for you to please God, in order for you to serve God, in order to answer the call of God on your life, you have to be paying attention to him. You have to listen to him. You have to turn from what you're doing and focus on God. So again, I challenge you with this question. Does God have your attention? As always, it is such a pleasure to present to you the Sanctuary Sunday School. And as you can see, today I'm at home outside in my backyard. And we had a scheduling conflict at the studio, so I decided to get this done anyway at home. And it's kind of nice out here, so I'm enjoying this. Hope you enjoy it as well. Once again, go ahead, stay tuned, click that bell, subscribe so that you don't miss anything. Go to the website, www.thesanctuary.academy, and get on our mailing list so that you can get our newsletter. I'm launching our newsletter this month, and you don't want to miss it. It'll be chock full of goodies, footage, behind the scene footage, and also study guides and different tools you can use. So again, www.thesanctuary.academy. This week's subject is about Moses at the burning bush. And this is a very, very popular subject. And last week we talked about a comfortable exile for Moses, where he went to Midian and he met his wife. He had his children, his child, and he was comfortable. He was doing okay. And he was there and he was watching the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro. And as he was tending this flock, he noticed a bush, and the bush was on fire, which in the desert, in that region, it's not such a big deal. But Moses noticed that this bush was burning and burning and burning, and it was not consumed. I love when my dad preached this, because he said his topic was, I'm on fire, but I won't burn up. So the bush was just burning and burning and burning. And typically when something is on fire, it'll burn down to ashes at some point, but it just kept burning and it wouldn't burn up. So Moses looked at it and he moved closer to see. He said, okay, what is going on over here? Let me go investigate. And when he did that, the voice of the Lord spoke to him, and it told him, don't come any closer. He said to take off your shoes, because the ground that you're standing on is holy ground. And I love that, because first thing that I noticed is that when you come into the presence of God, when you come into the holiness of God, there is a level of preparation. There are layers that need to be removed that stand between you and God. That ground was holy, so the soles of his shoes could not stand between Moses and that holy ground. God wanted him to experience his presence and let him know that I am here. And after everything that Moses had been through, the obscurity of being born, when he born, there was a hit out on him when he was born, where they were supposed to kill all the male boys, and God brought him through that and brought him to the palace and brought him through exile. And now it was time for God to call him, and he told him, he said, I have heard the affliction of my people in Egypt. I see what they're going through. I'm answering their prayer, and I want to use you to go back and to deliver them. And he came to Moses, and this was something, this was a huge undertaking, because he was going to have to leave his comfort zone. He was going to have to leave his family behind. And that's something, when we look at the greatness of, the movie, The Ten Commandments, and Moses standing there and parting the Red Sea and going before Pharaoh. But in ministry, there are prerequisites to getting to that point, to getting to that high profile point. There are things that you have to go through, and everything that Moses had been through up to this point in his life prepared him for the greatest mission that God had ahead of him. And that is a lesson that I took from it, because sometimes we don't want to go through the hard times, the hardship, and we feel like, why am I going through this? I don't deserve this. It's not that. It is a preparation for the greatest work of your life. It's a preparation for God using you in the greatest way possible. And so now it was Moses' time, and God came to him. And I love the fact that God got his attention. See, sometimes we struggle on what we should do and what we should not be doing, but the key comes from studying the Word of God and allowing yourself to pay attention and be available to God. See, when Moses was out there tending to his flock, he wasn't so engrossed in what he was doing until he didn't notice that bush. See, when we're going from our day-to-day going to our job, when we're taking care of our kids, and we're feeding our families and doing all of these things, we can't allow the day-to-day mundane things allow us to prevent us from allowing God to get our attention. God has a job for us. When we speak of callings is just not ministry and preaching. Calling is anything that God has assigned you to do, and every single one of us has a calling. And we have to make sure that we are paying attention to God, that we're noticing things around us, that we're seeing the hand of God in our lives. You know, we have this technology and all of this stuff, and there are times when God's hand just shows up the technology, and even the technology itself is God's given, and we've got to learn to look for God and see God everywhere that He is, because He is everywhere. I'm going to say that again. We've got to learn to see God where He is, because God is everywhere. He's in everything. There is nothing that was made without God. There is nothing that we can do without God. It is in Him that we move and we live and that we have our being. So I'm going to challenge you one more time. Does God have your attention? Because look at Moses. Moses looked at that bush, and he went close to that bush, and he obeyed the commands of God, and he listened to the call of God on his life. And that was critical, because the battle that he had and the journey that he had ahead of him was long and hard, because he had to fight Pharaoh, and he also had to deal with a rebellious people throughout his tenure of leadership. So that's why it is so important to pay attention to God and know that God is with us. Know that we're following Him. Know that we're obeying Him. And then God will see us through. He'll lead us through. And He will take you to the level in Him where He has called you to be. And that's the place where you want to live. That's the place where you want to be. You know, the old people used to say, Lord, keep me in the center of your will, right? I'm not trying to move to the right. I'm not trying to move to the left. I want to stay in the center of your will. I want to be available to you. Lord, you have my attention. And Lord, I will go. I'm going to do whatever it is that you're requiring me to do. So just make yourself available to the Lord and answer the call of God on your life, and allow the Lord to lead you to the place where you can find hope and joy and peace in the will of God.